Yay Networks.
Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm your host, Dr. Rady Rahban. And today we have a really interesting and unfortunately very sad episode, but as always, a very powerful episode. You know, anyone who knows our show knows that the singular purpose of the show is to educate you in order to make good decisions regarding plastic surgery, period. And sometimes you need to know the bad, the unfortunate in order to make good decisions. And we're really blessed to have Gelena Solano here with us today, who has courageously joined us in order to share the story of not herself, but rather her sister and the mishaps of her sister in an effort or in hopes that maybe somebody out there will listen and maybe divert from having such an outcome. She decided that she wanted a BBL or a fat transfer to the butt or a Brazilian butt lift, all the same procedure. And she wanted to do it. And she went to Miami to do it. And this was during the pandemic. The problem was she didn't tell anybody. She didn't tell you to the last minute. And she basically told you, hey, I'm going to go do this liposuction. And as a concerned family member, you naturally said, wait, where are you going? Who's doing it? Let me help you. I know people in Miami. Let me Google it. And she said, no, don't worry about it.
I don't know what was the whole mystery. I don't know why she didn't want to tell me. Maybe because she knew deeply inside that I was going to go ahead, like you say, and Google the information, find out who is the doctor, what's the review, how many people had died in there, how many people got sick. You don't understand?
No, 100%.
I would find out. Also, she had pneumonia at the time she did the operation, and the doctors, that the guy that does the anesthesia, they didn't know. She did her physical a month before the operation. A lot of things can happen during that
time. So what you're saying is that she didn't
even check up on her to see she had coronavirus, which she didn't have coronavirus.
Right. So you're telling me, which shouldn't surprise anybody, that is a shitty clinic. So then she went to Miami, and unfortunately she didn't tell anybody meaning she didn't let you guys know to help her, take her, pick her up, etc. She got a ride from a brother's friend. And sadly, she had a massive complication on the operating room table where she didn't get oxygen for a long period of time, subsequently was in a coma for 21 days, then remained in a hospital for 3 months in Miami. Of course, remember, her home is in New York. And then finally was transferred back to New York and has undergoing rehab and now lives with your sister and unfortunately has permanent mental and physical damage. So, this happened and you guys are now caring for your sister. What are the advices that you suggest to people?
So many of them. Number one, don't allow nobody to tell you that you're ugly and to make you feel a certain way. Bullying, they always gonna make bullying, but your self-esteem is more important than anything right there. And if you're going to go ahead and you're going to do a liposuction, I think you should just go to the right person and do the review and go and check up on the internet and find out what the doctor, who is the person they're going to put the anesthesia and who are the clinic or the hospital or whatever the people are. You're going to put yourself to sleep for a couple of hours, because the anesthesia, is like for a couple of hours. I mean, you're taking a risk right there. We've been through so much with my sister. The whole thing is being devastated. It's been extremely sad for the family, because sometimes when it's a lot of people that do something, they do a lipo, they do something, and they think about themselves and they don't think about the family, how we feel as a family. It's been a process. It's times that we are break down, that we feel, very sad to see our sister like that she can even walk, that she can even be a normal person, do the things that she wanted to do. So for those out there, the only thing I'm going to say is to think about your family, not only to think about yourself, to try to do the right choice, not to do stuff like by yourself. Like you say, it's always good to have somebody there. Like if she would have tell me who these people was, I would have Googled them and I would have be like, no, do not do that with them. I can help you once the pandemic is out, and I can help you to find the right doctor. You know, we do
Yeah.
it together. But the thing is that she went right ahead and she did what she wanted to do by herself. So I think you have to be very careful who you put yourself, you know, what doctor is going to go ahead and do your operation.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So I think these are the two take-home messages. So for those of you listening, for those of you who are actually planning on doing something and you happen to be listening to the show, remember this episode and remember that your consequences impact more than just yourself. And that often plastic surgery, while it is generally a self-centered and self-serving procedure, the ripple effects, both positive and negative, go way beyond yourself. So if it would make you very sad to hurt the people you love, make sure that you consider them in your decision, even though it's all about you. And for those of you who are connected to a loved one who wants to do plastic surgery, try not to discourage people. Try not to make them feel bad about it, because they're going to do it anyways. The only difference is they won't tell you. The reality is, just like your daughters and sons who are ultimately going to have sex, if you tell them no, 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 they'll get someone pregnant. But if you tell them, listen, if you're going to have sex, it's no problem. Here are the rules. Use contraception, make sure you know your partner, check for STDs. It's about accepting the reality. And the difference is that person then won't feel ashamed or likely to hide it from you. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but you love someone, you want to tell them, no, you don't need to lie. But why the hell are you doing your nose? They're just going to not tell you. And at the end of the day, God forbid, you end up like the Solanos, and then they end up having to now take care of this beautiful young lady. And so I think that's really the key message here, because there's not so much you can do. But if you're going to do it, make sure you think of others. And if you are involved with someone, try to not discourage them, but rather help them.
Thank you for listening to Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Rady Rahban. We would love your feedback. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you find our podcast helpful, tell us why. Leave us a review and make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a topic you would like for us to discuss in an upcoming episode, please reach out to us on Instagram at Dr. Rady Rahban, on Facebook at Rady Rahban, or at RadyRahban.com.